Welcome to part 2 of the Development for Infrastructure series. My name is Michael Levan. Thank you so much for joining me today. And what we're going to be talking about is code editors and IDEs. Now, before we can even write code and jump into it, you got to know how to use an editor. You got to know how to use an IDE and what the benefits are of using those editors. So, because for example, you could sit there and you could write a function in Notepad if you wanted to, but you're not going to have a really great experience. So let's jump in and see what editors and IDEs can do for us. There are so many different types of editors and IDEs. However, I did decide to go with VS Code, which we can see here on the screen, simply because it's honestly the most common right now. We see it everywhere, and not to mention it's free. So if you want to use something like PyCharm, the community edition, you can. But this IDE, a code editor, or text editor, I think it's very much like an IDE and a code editor, but it's very, very good. So first thing that you're going to have to do is actually install the IDE. So let's go ahead and type in VS Code. And then from here, right in Google, you can see the first link, Visual Studio Code, Code Editing Redefined. So you can click on that. And then depending on the operating system that you're running on, because I'm running on Windows, I could download for Windows, or you can see other platforms. So you can download for Mac OS. If you're running a Linux desktop, you download for that. And then of course for Windows. So let's say, for example, I can click on Windows, and then I have this download here and this link that's, ready to be downloaded. But I already have it downloaded, and I'm sure that, you can click next, next, next throughout this window. So go ahead, download it, and then come right back. So we're back to VS Code here, and this is essentially what it's going to look like when you first install it. So I do have a few different extensions here that you're not going to see because you don't have them installed, but that's perfectly okay. Same thing with recent stuff. Like I have a whole bunch of repos here that I've used recently. You're obviously not going to have that. But the first thing that you can do is you can start to install extensions. So for example, let's say you're using Go. You can type in Go, and you're going to see a few different extensions, but I try to go for like the official extensions. So this is an official extension by Google. So I've already downloaded that, but I can kind of show you what it looks like if I just uninstall it, for example, and then you can see that I can reinstall it. And then we have that installed here. So for example, sometimes there are a few different add-ons to the extensions as well. So I'm on a keyboard here for Windows, and I'm going to type in Control-Shift-P. And then from here, if I type in Go, you can see right here I have Go install update tools. So I can click on that, and there's a bunch of different tools that you can use here. There's linters, formatters, things for interfaces, really, really cool stuff. And I usually like to just install all of them. So we can go ahead and we can install all those like that. And then if we see the output here, it's going to start to install them for us. Now what we can do is let's go ahead and just maybe, open up a simple Go file. So I am literally going to do File, New File, and I'm going to Control S here. It's going to ask me where I want to save. Go ahead and I'll save it to my desktop. I'll say test.go. All right, so now we have this Go file here. Now we see an error right off the bat, and the error is expected semicolon found EOF. So that's because we don't have anything in our file yet. So for example, let's say I start to type in package, right? And this is showing right off the bat that I can choose, for example, a package desktop or desktop test, because it's saying desktop because that's where my file is stored, or I could do a package main. So I can click package main here, and all Go files start off with a specific package that you're either creating using targeting. So next, if I hit enter here, and let's say I do IM, and you can see here this almost autocomplete of what you're trying to type in, and that's where those extensions and the different tools come into play that you can use. So I can type import, for example, and I'm going to import FMT. Now what FMT allows you to do is it's a standard package that allows you to do things like print to the screen, print to the console. You can also print out logs and stuff like that. So I'm just going to run func main. I'm going to create my new function here, and this is just going to be a real basic function. Now the reason why I'm showing this is because I want to show what happens with the autocomplete or the dot notation. So I'm going to type FMT. Then I'm going to type dot. And as we can see, there are a bunch of different options here. This is that dot notation. So these are all of the different interfaces and all of the different functions that are available for FMT. So for example, I could type PR, and then we could see println or print line, and we can see here that it's a function. And then we could just type in hello YouTube. And then if I wanted to run this, I absolutely can. Go to terminal here, and I can cd to desktop. I can do go run test.go, and then we'll see the output of hello YouTube. So of course there are a bunch of different things that you can do with a text editor or with an IDE, but this is a really good place to start because those extensions are going to be what's able to extend your use case for all the different languages, as we've seen here with the autocomplete, with the dot notation, with the autocomplete, and then also with all the different extensions and the different tool updates that we can use. That concludes part 2, text editors and IDEs. Thank you so much for watching.